Having good and sustainable mental health is another one of the key sort of factors to living a good quality life. Many people don't really understand what mental health is. No one ever really understood it back in the past, and people still are kind of struggling to grasp the concept of what it actually is today. No one really knows how your mental health works. It's probably something to do with the chemicals in your brain, like the neurotransmitters, what they make you feel at certain times, what they make you feel in the long term, what their baseline sort of nanograms per deciliter in the sort of brain synovial fluid are, or in the bloodstream perhaps. No one really quite understands what mental health actually is. So as a result, a lot of the mental health advice that I've seen in school and stuff, some of it has been pretty good, some of it has not been so good. And I'll talk about the good stuff first. Some of the good stuff I've seen from mental health advice in school is to spend time in nature, away from technology and social media and all that sort of stuff. And that is 100% correct. Nature, even if you have your phone on you, for instance, you will feel sort of less need to actually go on your phone when you're out in nature, because your body will feel so much more relaxed than when it's kind of stressed in like a closed body language position or whatever, when you're at home playing video games or on TikTok or whatever. Nature is just one good and easy way to improve your mental health. If you spend not every single hour of every single day immersing yourself in nature, rolling around in mud, that's not necessary. All you have to do is to just come out here for maybe like 3-4 hours per week or so, and you will see the difference in how you feel and your general happiness levels. You will act kinder and nicer towards other people, and that's always a good thing. And you'll just feel better about yourself. You won't feel as jealous when you spend more time in nature and less time kind of inside, closed up. You're kind of reading all these things on the news that are so negative. You'll actually feel better about yourself and other people when you spend less time on social media and like come back and relax in nature. But another thing that I've seen schools give advice about mental health, which is actually pretty good, is that you should get good sleep. And many people just seem to completely disregard this, because I don't really know why. I don't really know why people don't understand the benefits of sleep. Like, maybe they do understand it, but they still just don't sleep anyway. It never ever really made sense to me, and I just don't understand it. Some people have the weirdest sleep schedules where they'll go to bed at like 2 a.m. and then wake up at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know how people can do that, and I just don't understand how people are able to function that way. But the problem is that even if you do have like a sleep schedule that's kind of different to everyone else's, you go to bed quite late at night, like midnight, and then wake up maybe at 9 in the morning or something. That's a valid sleep schedule. The problem is that when you have to then go to school or work, it will normally start quite early in the morning, and you'll be going to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning, midnight, waking up at maybe 6 or 7 or 8, and you're not really getting the amount of sleep that you actually need. And that's just going to cause sleep deprivation. That's going to mean that you're more susceptible to stress, and things are going to stress you out more, and that's going to not be good for your mental health. Stress isn't good for your mental health whatsoever, and a lack of sleep more rather, makes you more stressed. So by proxy, that kind of means that if you get less sleep, you're going to have worse mental health. You're going to feel more depressed, more anxious, all that sort of stuff. It's not a nice place to be in at all. As long as you're getting like the required amount, like 7 to 9 hours per night, you'll be absolutely fine. And the other main thing is just to keep the same sleep schedule the whole year round. Know whereabouts you kind of start to get tired and want to go to bed, and know whereabouts you have to wake up for school. If you really have to sort of make your sleep schedule fit to how your life actually works, whether it's through school or through work, then do it that way, and don't sort of try to go to bed late and then you have to wake up early, because that's just going to cause some sleep deprivation if you're not getting the required amount of sleep. Even if you are going to bed and waking up at the same time, you have to kind of have both rather than just one or the other. That's about all the good mental health advice I've seen school give. As much as the kind of stuff that school requires you to do makes that advice a little bit hypocritical and counterproductive. I've seen many people have sleepless nights and stay up late for school and for exams and for the exam system, because of the pressure that they feel from parents, because of the way that school grades are so grandiose and like magnified by parents and society in general. And if you don't get good grades, you're going to end up on the street and all that sort of stuff. People have had sleepless nights and stayed up late just to get good grades or get more studying hours in, which is counterproductive anyway, because you will get better grades if you actually just sleep instead of doing the extra hour of studying. You will remember more from what studying you were actually able to do during the day, which is more productive. So some people don't get that, but they feel the need that they have to stay up for school, otherwise they're going to get bad grades, and if they get bad grades, then things aren't going to end too well for them, according to everything that society and their parents say. One of the only other sort of good pieces of mental health advice I've ever really seen out there is to get rid of social media for a while. You don't have to get rid of it forever. It just has to be a temporary thing. Maybe stay away from like the really bad stuff like TikTok and like the deep depths of the internet. Not sure how far that stuff kind of shit goes, but some of it's pretty bad. Maybe like get rid of like Twitter, this whole kind of negative and stuff like that. But you can maybe, if you temporarily get rid of things like maybe your Instagrams, your Snapchats, and then just kind of focus on yourself for a while, focus on getting your mental health to be better, and then understanding how to actually use social media, not to make yourself depressed, because that's what happens to most people, but actually to your advantage, then you're going to live a probably more happy, more present and quality life, because you're not sort of just inside all day on social media. You're actually out there focusing on yourself, doing something with yourself that's actually productive. But as I say, you don't have to get rid of social media forever. I kind of quite like living under a rock, so it's a positive for me to just get rid of social media, and I don't really feel like I need it. Even though in the modern day and age people say you need social media to make money and all that kind of stuff, yeah, that's probably true, but honestly I'm willing to make that sacrifice of making a huge amount of money and living like a sad life, because I'm being distracted by social media, and I'm sort of, every bit of free time I get that's not doing my Instagram business or whatever the hell people kind of do nowadays, I'm just literally on social media just kind of doing nothing. I'm pretty willing to make that sacrifice in all honesty, and I don't think you necessarily need social media to make money in the modern day and ages, which is what a lot of people say. But other than that, I've seen some pretty bad mental health advice given out by school, and some of that has been to just do what feels good, and that's not necessarily the right thing to do. If you want good mental health, you probably should do what feels right and what feels correct in that specific moment, and that will lead you to make good decisions, and that will lead to a good life if the decisions that you make in every single instance actually play out, and the consequences of those will be fun and a good life, essentially. But if you do what feels good in the moment, that is instant gratification, essentially. More often than not, the key to having good mental health is actually through delayed gratification rather than instant gratification, because that way you're putting yourself through suffering, say it through exercise or through doing some studying or working, and then once you reap the benefits of those hard activities, you then have something to be proud of, which is good for your mental health. It gets your neurotransmitters going, it gets them balanced, and that's what you want. But if you kind of do what feels good in the moment, eat the junk food, don't exercise, play video games, that's just going to lead to no progress being made in your personal life. You haven't like leveled up at all, and even though you may feel happy in the moment you're playing video games, it's more necessarily not, it's not necessarily happiness that you feel, it's just the absence of all the negative, sad thoughts that you sort of get because you feel like you're behind in life, so you distract yourself by going to parties or playing video games and all that sort of stuff. But if you didn't do that and you just decided to actually, I want to get rid of these thoughts for good, the way to go about that isn't by like eating donuts and playing video games. The way to go about it is to actually think of what is actionable to get rid of the negative thoughts that I'm feeling, and do the things that will actually get rid of them. If they don't go at that point, then it probably becomes more of a medical issue than just a sort of pseudoscience or bro science kind of thing, if that makes any sense. But for most people, the sad thoughts that they get can be quite easily and actionably solved by just doing delayed gratification activities. If you feel bad about your body, don't sort of eat junk food, because that's really not going to help. Instead, exercise or find out what would be good for your specific body goal, and that's more body positivity than the kind of stuff you see on social media nowadays anyway. But that's basically how you do it. That's simple mental health advice that I can give anyway, and it's worked for me. I don't have perfect mental health necessarily, but it's better than what it was before when I was mostly doing instant gratification.